Pleased to have David Wright stopping by. He's going to spend a little bit of time talking to me about this unique thing. I just saw it for the very first time. I just heard about it for the very first time. It's what David calls the Character by Integrity Act. And he's trying to get in front of some congressmen. And we can all imagine how easy that is, especially since they're on vacation. How much? 90% of the time?
92 weeks a year.
Exactly.
How many weeks are there in a year?
Half of that, but I get your point. I get your point. So, David, man, welcome, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
You talk about this Character by Integrity Act, and I was able to take a glance at it, but I know nothing about it. So, again, I know nothing at all. Educate me, please.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have a problem when you see a homeless vet holding up a cardboard sign that says, homeless, veteran, hungry, cold?
It always drives me a little crazy. I've told the story many times. I'm a transplant from South Florida. Been up here for about a year now.
Okay.
And so I was down in Florida. There was a guy, homeless veteran, had a dog. The dog, I'm embarrassed to say, is what really caught my attention. But it was this guy that was out in front of the store. Real nice, big, multi-pump station, quick stop, all kinds of stuff, right? And I guess one or two people had complained, so the manager had no choice but to throw him off the property. Right. Now here's a homeless guy who's getting thrown off the property where he had at least a little bit of covering when the weather hit. Now he has to go off over here. And
it's a tough subject because as a business owner, what do? You're in business for a reason. At the same time, you don't necessarily have a cold heart. None of us in this country have a cold heart, but there's only so much any of us can ever do.
That's right.
So I wrote this thing, basically locking the legislators into a corner of a box. So it doesn't matter which way your party flag flies. This is nonpartisan.
Okay.
Let's get politics out of the way. Nobody likes politics. Everybody hates politics. I don't think any of your viewers, your listeners right now care about politics. I think I just heard 5 of them click off because of the word politics.
Sure.
So this is not about politics. It's about solving a problem. The problem is, for years and years and years, we've been putting Band-Aids on this problem by doing shelters or food pantries or, town-run great programs for our homeless veterans.
Right.
And they're wonderful. They're caring, they're compassionate, they're benevolent, they're great. But they're just Band-Aids. The homeless veterans are still out there. So I did the numbers, I crunched the numbers, I went over the math of the 2010 Housing Urban Development Report. If you go to Google and you Google Character by Integrity Act, be the very first link, you got it up there, and I've got it all laid out in a 5-slide presentation. This is basic and it's simple and it's logical. It doesn't matter which way your party flag is, red or left or blue or purple or pink or whatever the color gamut is we have today, What it does is basically we've got more vacant homes across the country right now than we do the total number of population, not just veterans. And the majority of those homes are either owned by banks or by private property owners. And those homes are just sitting there, withering, dying away, opening up the doors and floodgates for things like, squatters and drug abusers and things like that. We don't want any of that. We don't want to have an area in our town getting worse and worse and worse. So what this does is it takes, as long as they're habitable enough to move into, and the private property owner or the banks want to voluntarily, per state lotto, put them up in the lotto to be used for the veterans or even homeless families. They're all screened in this program. They're all registered. So the homeowners know who's moving into them. But once the homeowners do that, they're getting a $4,000 tax stimulus check that I've got worked into this proposal. Every American taxpayer is getting tax cuts across the board. So if you're hardcore right and you're tired of paying taxes, I'm left, right, middle, up, and down, and I still hate paying taxes.
Of course.
It cuts taxes across the board, just the program itself. But it's also improving those properties. You may have a second home, but you can't really afford to fix it up, so it's deteriorating in value. Put a homeless vet in there on a monthly basis. That vet has to make added permanent value improvements to the property. Okay, and that's all regulated in my proposal. I've got 7 agencies consolidated down to 2, medical and management. The management talks to you, Joe homeowner, and says, hey, is it okay? This has been proposed for this month's work. You sign off on it? Yes. That work gets accomplished. Your house, your property value goes up. Now, say the bank partially owns your house, like the majority of all of us, and you don't want the bank's value to go up. Well, it won't, because you are the deed holder within the bank, within that loan, that mortgage agreement. So your equity share will go up with added improvement values, just as if you were doing the work yourself. And it's all easy enough. You don't have to be a pro carpenter or construction worker. We got this thing called the internet. And within the internet, we got those 3 little letters, DIY, do it yourself. Anybody can do it, and especially our capable military veterans.
Now, what do you say to someone that says, all right, you know what? I am a personal property owner. I can't rent my house out. It is in disrepair. I don't have the cash to do it. I do something like this program. Now, all of a sudden, the value does go up. I finally have it at a state that now I can rent or I can sell this home. I can generate revenue.
Absolutely.
What then?
What then? Well, the program only allows for a maximum 1-year occupancy. If you, the homeowner, want to re-up it after that year and receive an additional $4,000 tax stimulus check, you have the ability to, or you can take full possession of the home back. It's yours to do what you want. It's your home after all. You can rent it, you can sell it, you can buy another house and put that in the lotto too. I mean, think of the possibilities of this on a sweat equity level with the amount of homeless population we have across the country. Think about first-time home buyers, maybe newlyweds, young couple that maybe just have enough credit line to get that first home with first-time home buying grants and stuff like that, but maybe not enough in equity or equity capital to be able to make home improvements to a fixer-upper that they can barely get approved for. So they can keep their rental with their normal employment that they're doing, have this house that they've just got a fixer-upper, put it in the program, receive a $4,000 tax stimulus check, and over the course of a year, it'll get fixed up for them.
Now, we're talking about a $4,000 tax stimulus check. So is this additional revenue now that suddenly the taxpayers are going to have to say, oh, my gosh, we got to throw in more money. It's going to cost us more tax money.
That's a great question. And it's within the math in this structure. Currently, we're spending about, on average, per the 2010 Housing Urban Development Report, federally, not state, but federally, we're spending on average $60,000 per homeless individual.
Per individual?
Per individual.
Okay.
Across the country. Now, if you break down the numbers, that's about 1.5% of 360 million Americans. But 1.5% of 360 million at $60,000 per pop is a huge margin.
Huge.
This program, especially with the sweat equity and the values and equity shares increasing, drops that essentially down to $2,000 per homeless individual because there will always be homeless. I wish I could snap my magic fingers and wipe out all the homeless, but that's impossible, especially at the rate of improvement like our country's showing. You will always have homeless. You're going to have the guys and girls that want to be off the grid or whatever and want to disappear in the woods. You're not going to be able to save everyone, but that doesn't mean that we can't try at least to save the ones that have already sacrificed for all of us to be here right now enjoying this ice-cold beer at Irish Eyes with you on your radio show.
Right on, man.
Right?
60,000 to 2,000.
Think about the huge amount of margin difference there per homeless individual that allows for tax cuts and that tax stimulus check. And this is a sustainable model. So the more people that offer up their home and that 4,000 goes and goes and goes, all it does is increase it while simultaneously decreasing the need for expenditure on homeless. It's a completely sustainable model.
Outstanding. So what is your next step with this?
I'm up here in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, not Lewis, Delaware. I'm from California.
You learn that when you get here, don't you?
I learned
buddy.
That pretty quick. And
yeah.
You know what? It's a wonderful town, wonderful first town, first state. This is our 26th state. My dog and I, Boomer, he's out in the car right now. But so far we traveled 26 states from Southern California. We fed and clothed 148 homeless veterans, talked down essentially 5 off the proverbial suicidal ledge, so to speak. We pray and we hope that they're still alive to this day. Because they deserve that. They matter. So we're going back to D.C. We're raising monies. We do have a site for crowdfunding called youcaring.com/CIA because I basically gave up my entire livelihood back in California to address this problem. I'm not making a dime off this. I'm not looking for any kind of gains. I don't care if you're Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, Peter, Paul, Mary. If you want to take credit for the Character by Integrity Act, have at it. It's not about me and my dog. It's about fixing the problem.
Right on.
So,
David, thanks for taking the time to stop by, brother. So good to meet you, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wow, that's astounding. And give me that website again.
It's www.youcaring.com/CIA.
Very good. Thanks,
not for
brother.
the CIA we all know about.
That's what I was wondering.
Character by Integrity Act.
Very good. David, thank you, man. Take care, brother.